Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another episode of Rim Shots with Sean right here in the Rock Rage Radio Network. I am here with somebody that I've just met that I have the absolute pleasure of just meeting these folks that they come from all over the place. They're super talented. I've got Nikki Peril from the band Choke Chain, and you're residing where, Nikki?
I'm sorry.
Where do you reside?
I'm in. I'm outside of Phoenix, Arizona, about 40 miles, a small town called Maricopa,
I
out in the
love
middle of
that.
the desert.
I love to ask people where they're from because for me it's cool because I'm all on the east coast of Canada, so it's pretty neat to figure out all the people and places of people that I get to meet and live. So,
Yeah.
uh, so for starters, tell me about Choke Chain.
Joke Chain's an original project. I had been trying for 8 years to get up and running. I didn't want to just slap something together and then, deal with egos and attitudes, and wanted to find the right people, guys with like minds as far as styles of music. So it took a lot of years till I found the right guys. Guitar player Mikey and we've got a side project where we do a bunch of old school punk tribute stuff. That's been going on for about 8 years. So what, about 4 years ago? So we were playing together for 4 years, and I finally asked him if he would like to do some originals. And immediately it was absolutely not. And he was thinking more, like our teenage years where we just lived in a studio. So I had to remind him, dude, we've got this great thing called email. You write something, send it in an email. And so, yeah, he eventually come around. And then, of course, we pulled our drummer that was in punks in as well. And then through process of auditions, we found Julian, who we think vocally just fit perfectly for the type of music we're doing.
So isn't it funny how people overlook technology, like, and I equate it to they're scared of it or they don't understand it. They say they don't want to use it. Some people, not everybody, but a lot of people I encounter. I do a lot of recording. I'm a drummer. I do tracks for people, and they'll say, "Well, we just want the stems." Well, I also need the stems. I can do it on an electronic drum kit. No, not electronic drum. Well, that's essentially what you want anyway. So, I mean, talk about that a little bit because why do you think people are afraid of technology in this new day and age?
Uh, I can't speak on that. I can just tell you, I'm not a fan of it. I'm not very technology wise. Um, Emails about the most I want to deal with. Like I had an interview yesterday trying to get on another one of these things like Zoom, and it was just a complete nightmare. It ended up just being a phone conversation.
Right.
Before I got on with you, I spent probably a good 10 minutes just trying to get in the group. I'm not technology savvy. Um, I'm not a fan. I'm old school. Born in the 70s, raised in the 80s. With this phone here, if I didn't need it for work and other things, honestly, you'd be calling my house phone that's nailed to my wall.
Well, if you still got one of those, that's great. But here's the thing: you play guitar, correct?
Bass player.
You're a bass player, okay? Even I like to pick on bass players. I won't. We just met, so I won't go there. But
Well,
you,
see, I don't have to overcompensate by having two extra strings.
there you go, right? There you go. Ask you a technical question on bass, you could beguile me for 2 hours about strings, about pickups, about amps, about So you're more technical than you let on.
No, I played nothing but Ibanez basses. I play an Ibanez SR 300 and a 305 because that that model just has the sound that I like. I don't like my guitar player literally builds his own guitars.
Right.
He'll find like some uh, like pieces, like he's got two Ibanez Icemans that he literally built, and then of course took out the pickups and did the whole rewire. I play factory. I play factory straight out of the factory Ibanez amp or pickups, which I can't remember. I want to say they're DiMarzio's, and then Ibanez strings that come straight out of the factory, and that's so I don't do a whole lot of technic technic technology in a whole lot of anything, really. I try to keep it very simple and basic. I'm an old construction worker, so um, you know, the old school guys, their ways were tried and true.
No, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Because how many times does the power go off that somebody can still play an acoustic guitar, right? That
Yeah.
So tell me about Choke Chain. You said about 4 years ago. I think you said a couple of minutes ago that you guys had started to consider writing. Tell me about the band.
Yeah, we formed in the middle of the pandemic, really. So there's not a whole lot of anybody was doing anything anyway, so we had plenty of times to get together and jam out. And it started out where I brought in like 3 or 4 songs, Mikey brought in like 3 or 4 songs, and then, like I said, we've been playing together for at this time up to about 4 years now. But it was just all covers.
Right.
So once we started like getting together doing the originals, started feeling each other out more as far as writing styles and abilities, and we pretty much scrapped most of those songs. There's, I believe, 4 out of the, I believe 8 it was that we originally brought in actually made it to the album. Um, but then everything else was just like, yeah, we don't need to do this. I'll throw out a riff and send it off to Mikey. He'll come back and say either yes or no, he likes it, or I like it, but I want to change this, and that's what he'll do. That's what we both do. I'll write something completely out and send it off to him and say, look, this is just what I heard. Take and do what you do with it. And 9 times out of 10, he makes it a million times better.
Well, it's good to have that collaboration, right? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Um, so I've got a bunch of friends in Phoenix that I converse with all the time, and I kind of have a little bit of a vibe of what the scene is like there. But for you guys, uh, what is the scene like for you, for your type of music that you're playing? Vibrancy, that type of thing.
It's the scene here constantly changes. Like right now, we're in a situation where bars are closing left and right. There's fewer and fewer places to play. Of course, there's more and more bands coming up.
Right.
Our music is, we describe it as it's very 70s, 80s style hard rock with a good, healthy dose of sleaze. So it's probably, more the 80s style versus more of this math core and deathcore, which seems to be more popular or more, well, there's more of those bands coming out.
Right.
Of course, they're all younger kids, for the majority. We're all old dudes. So for us, shooting out to LA and playing the whiskey with bands like, Babylon AD or Faster Pussycat or Dangerous Toys is such a better fit and an easier process for us.
And it's funny because every time I talk to people out on that coast, and I grew up again in Halifax, Nova Scotia, right? So I'm about as east coast of Canada almost as you can be. And we heard about the Whiskey a Go Go, but we only get to see it in MTV or up here we had Much Music, and it just seems like there's a lot of bands that have the opportunity to play those rooms. Is it something that you guys still love to do, like, that you don't take for granted, that you just love to get out there and do those types of rooms when you're playing?
Absolutely. I mean, the whiskey's the mecca of rock and roll. I mean, that's where it really all started. Shut up, damn dogs. That's why I threw them outside.
Yeah.
So yeah, for us, it's really great. Okay. Yeah, I mean, the whiskey has always been a dream to play, always. And yeah, I mean, to be up on stage and just see a packed house and people dancing to your moving and just, man, that's orgasmic to a musician.
I've had a few friends that have played there and they always say the same thing. They're surprised that, it's not a huge room. It's not as huge as what they thought it would be. It's a nice tight room and it sounds great. But they're also surprised that, I mean, one friend was there for 2 weeks and he said almost every night of the week they had people in the room, and it was quite busy.
Every night of the week, yeah, 7 nights a week, and it's usually always a packed house. I don't care if it's Tuesday,
Yeah,
it's a packed house.
which is
And it is small, but I mean, there's an upper and a lower level, so it holds a few hundred people.
nice.
You can pack a few hundred people in there.
Well, I mean, so you mentioned some of those bills that you're on. You guys have something coming up again soon down that
Uh,
neck of the woods?
right, right now we don't have anything except for December 13th. We'll be back at the whiskey. We're in the process of just really, trying to finish up some new music and get it in the studio to put out another album. But for now, our really only date that we have is December 13th, opening for Quarantine, which is Chris Jericho's No Kiss or No Makeup Kiss cover band.
Yeah, well, you can see I'm a fan, my friend. So I
Yeah,
I did my part to put Paul and Gene's kids through university. So there you go.
yeah,
Um,
you and me both.
yeah, exactly. Um, I don't like to do the comparable thing, but I often find I have to if I'm bringing on a band that maybe my viewers haven't experienced yet, and I'm trying to get them out there. So if I was to say, give me a comparable of who Choke Chain is to another band to connect the dots, who might that be?
Oh, okay. Say if maybe Black Sabbath had an illegitimate bastard child with Motley Crue.
Well, okay. And would it be the Ozzy Vince vocals or would it be the Dio vocals?
It would be Ozzy.
Very cool.
I mean,
So
I love Dio, but I was not a fan of the Sabbath Dio era.
and that's fair, man. I mean, I say all the time, people get in fights over music, right? Like this is good and this sucks and whatever, but it's kind of like what you like is what you like, and what I like is what I like, and nobody's wrong. It's just an opinion,
Exactly.
right? And
Exactly.
people need to start getting in that mind frame. I mean, put a gun to my head and tell me I'm going to like jazz, I'll probably won't do it. I mean, but that's just me, right? Um, so you said 8 songs in the album. Now you're working on some more songs. I'm assuming for another release. How has that been going? Like in terms of the fan reaction to your music, better than you thought?
And I gotta let you go, man. I'm sorry. I gotta cut this short.
Yeah, no
I'm sorry.
problem.
I'm sorry.
It's all good.
All right. Thanks.
Thanks.